How long does it take to train for your first Ironman triathlon? Now, this is a question that I hear very often, and to answer that question, I first need to teach you a little bit about how to structure a training plan when getting ready for your first Ironman triathlon. A typical training plan that you might buy online or get from a coach is comprised of three essential phases, and those phases are the base phase, the build phase, and then the peak and taper phase. And each of these phases has its own purpose, and the purposes of each phase will dictate the type of training that you'll be undergoing during that phase. So, the first and the most important phase for you as a beginner is the base phase. I kind of want you to delete the build phase from your mind if this is your first Ironman triathlon, because the whole point of the base phase is to build up your endurance to the point where you would be ready to cross the finish line. And as a first time Ironman, if your goal, and it should be, if your goal is just to cross the finish line and you don't necessarily care about how long it takes you, other than the fact that you need to meet the time restraint on the race, which is 17 hours, and there's different time cutoffs for each of the disciplines. But if your goal is just to finish the race, then instead of structuring the question of how long would it take me to complete my first Ironman, and then finding whatever free advice you find online that tells you that you need these three phases and that you should spend this much time week per week increasing your volume and then adding these speed workouts in and then peaking on this week and then tapering on these weeks, I want you to forget all that and just learn how to structure a proper base phase. Now, over the course of approximately 20 or so weeks, you can build up your fitness from a point of maybe running your longest run in the past 3 weeks has been a 5K or even a 10K. Building from that point over the course of 20 weeks, you should be able to get your fitness to a level that you can complete the Ironman triathlon. And then allowing yourself a good 6 weeks of a build phase just to add a little speed and power into the mix, and then have a comfortable 4 weeks to peak and then taper off into your race day. So, what I'm proposing to you as a beginner is to, at minimum, allocate 30 weeks of consistent training to your Ironman triathlon, where the majority of the focus is on the base phase. Now, as a little bit of a bonus, just so that you do structure your base phase properly and approach it with the right mindset, here's what you need to think about as you're going into and through your base phase. You're going to get bored. You're going to be a little bit frustrated at the speed that you're approaching your training sessions at. And you're going to question whether or not you're going to be fast enough to finish the race. These are all very normal beliefs and mindsets that are going to sink in as you go through your training. But the important part of this base phase is to be able to get enough time on your feet and time on the bike and time in the water to be able to complete the volume that you'll be approaching with the Ironman triathlon, which is significant. Because if you can't do the volume, it doesn't matter how fast you are, you'll need to, at minimum, be able to withstand the volume of the race in order to complete the race. Now, there's an interesting part of the base phase where, as you're moving forward through this phase at your slow and steady pace in your zone 2 heart rate, as you know, all these terms that you've probably heard too many times to count, you will actually be getting a VO2 max benefit and a speed benefit by approaching this phase in this manner. And I'll tell you from personal anecdotal experience that when I'm restarting my training for a new training block, like I am right now, the first 3 weeks I take super slow. And you'd probably laugh. I will take my runs between an 11 and a 12-minute mile just so that my heart rate can stay exactly where I need it to be. And over the course of that 3 weeks, you'll see your VO2 max slowly increasing, and you'll see your pace slowly increasing at the same heart rate, while the strain on your body will be near zero and the strain on your mind will be near zero. And so, if you can extrapolate that over the course of 20 weeks, where you're really minimizing the impact on your body and you're maximizing the benefit that you're receiving from these workouts, it's really no argument to why you should be even thinking about adding any speed workouts or any speed into your training while you're fostering such great benefits at such a low intensity. Now, that is a huge mental shift that really anybody new to endurance sports needs to take on, but it's necessary, and it's very necessary because beginners like myself, when I first started out, trying to get faster and put more speed on and, do this all while worrying about their first Ironman. When I tell you the amount of pains and injuries and this, that, and the other thing, at you name it, it happens when you start adding speed and intensity to your workouts when you really shouldn't be. And you should really just be focusing on moving forward, stabilizing your heart rate, getting good at that long, slow, grueling workout style. That is what is going to allow you to finish your first Ironman. So, hopefully, you're ready as we near the start of a new year. Hopefully, you have a race on your docket. Hopefully, you're ready to get training for your first endurance event, whether it's an Ironman triathlon or it's, something smaller, half Ironman, a marathon, a half marathon. Getting something on the books is the number one thing that will allow you to continue to advance in your fitness. So, one, I recommend definitely getting something on the books. And two, if you're looking for help in training for something along those lines, just reach out to me. I usually have a link in my description that goes to my website where you can either buy my Ironman Mastery training plan or I'll include a link for just a quick form that you can fill out if you want to be coached by me for your next endeavor. And for the record, I plan to continue to release as much free content as I possibly could, and I'm trying to give away the best stuff as almost every marketing person online suggests. So if you can't afford a coach and you can't afford a training plan, I do not want you to reach out for training, and I do not want you to buy my training plan. Instead, I'll be continually putting as much value as I can in these videos. So just subscribe to the video or subscribe to my channel, and hopefully we can get you exactly where you need to go or where you want to go this next year through just the free content that I have on this channel. On that note, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your year, and I look forward to this next training season with all of you. Good luck on your first race.